Carl, first of all, congratulations on behalf of Railway Age and our editorial staff and our publisher. You are our 53rd Railroader of the Year. This award has been given out since 1964.
Well, thank you very much. I'm humbled by the honor and accept on behalf of everyone at BNSF.
Now, you've been with BNSF and its predecessor, Railway Santa Fe, since the beginning.
That's correct. I actually worked as a summer intern while I was still in college at one of our predecessors, Santa Fe. It was about 37 years ago.
Okay.
I was an engineering undergraduate, and I thought it was important to get a work experience in a job that was related to engineering. Before that, I'd done things like work construction or in factories during the summertime. And that summer, I thought it was important to get that experience. And then when I wound up at the railroad, it was an exciting place. It was, as things were starting to change. It was 1979, so it was before deregulation, but not much. And I saw lots of opportunities for ownership, to have projects to work on that were mine to solve and mine to do, and just had a great summer and was excited about the ability to come back full time once I graduated. I was privileged to lead the mechanical team in 1995. I do enjoy being out on the railroad and spending time with the people. The people that do what they do on the railroad are what makes BNSF the great place it is. And so being out with them and hearing what they're doing and talking about their challenges is something I really enjoy doing. And I think at a railroad it's important to know what we do. The details matter. There are thousands and thousands of decisions that get made every day that all of us, how we work together, they're very important. So I think all of us have a responsibility to know what's happening, what's going on the railroad. And after all, we're an operating company. We take things from where they are and move them to where they need to be. And to do that, you have to have a strong operation.
You have 28,000 track miles, is it?
It's 28,000 that we own and 33,000 we operate on.
Okay. What is the most challenging thing?
Well, gosh, I think it's hard to pick any one thing. I mean, as you mentioned, size. It's a large scope and a large scale. It runs 24 hours a day, every day of the year. There's no time to reset. So we have to run well, and we have to be able to recover and be flexible. I think we try hard to make sure that we plan in a way that we manage both long-term and short-term variabilities, that we have resources in place for our customers and for their growth as we project the future. But then there's still variations from day to day, and having a group of people who know how to attack that, have a plan that can be flexible and make adjustments, I think is very important.
The BNSF has a remarkable intermodal operation. That seems to be the real growth area.
I think that's true. I think it is a huge growth area. It has been for some time. We certainly have a very powerful intermodal franchise, serving across the western United States into the central part of the country, and going to Atlanta as well. And so we're proud of that franchise. We think it's important to fulfill our value of listening to our customers and doing what it takes to meet their expectations, and I think we do that every day in intermodal. As you said, we've got routes that let us offer service that's competitive. I think it's a growth opportunity because it's a chance to more and more work on getting trucks off the highway onto the railroad. We have huge relationships with many large trucking companies where they handle the moves in and out of our railroad to our intermodal facilities. Then we make the long haul. That lets us both do what we do well. Intermodal's economically definitely a powerful opportunity for our customers. We can give strong service, and it's good for environmental and good for getting for highway congestion. So it really works really well for everybody.
Now, a big part of this has been the terminals that have been constructed.
We have opened a number of our new intermodal facilities, or added to ones we have. And really that kind of investment for intermodal, for the terminals, but for our whole railroad is something that we think is important. We invest significantly on our railroad to be there for the growth of all of our customers. Railroad's capacity is based on how many people that we have, how many locomotives, the rolling stock, and then the infrastructure, our line and our terminals. And we make investments in all of those to make sure we're positioned for growth.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the other commodities. As you well know, coal has been soft, but there seems to have been, it's not so soft on BNSF compared to some of the other carriers. Why is that?
Well, I think for everybody, coal's in a changing time. We see coal for BNSF down from our highs. In about 2004 or 5 was when the mines expanded, and from that time to now, the range of tonnage for years has been 255 to 260 to just short of 300 million tons on our railroad. But most of the time, it's been between 270 and 285. Mm-hmm. So last year we were about 270 million tons. So we were 10% or close off of our all-time high. Mm-hmm. But the coal that comes from the Powder River Basin continues to be coal that the utilities prefer, and so I think that helps us not be as soft. Last year we believed there was more coal tonnage that we could have moved, so I think that set us up this year for positioning to move near records again if need be. Now as things have unfolded with some of the pressures on coal like natural gas prices, and also that the weather's been a little more favorable in terms of temperatures than it was winter before last. They didn't need that much, so we won't be at our highs. We do see coal falling for us as well over the next years. Now, coal once upon a time was 25% of the revenue for railroads in total, so it can fall by a lot and remain a significant and important commodity. And so we're planning for that. We're positioning for that. We expect to have parts of our franchise that will continue to be coal franchise that will continue to be strong. We need to be a low-cost, consistent provider for that to be the case. Mm-hmm. So as we move forward, then we'll have less volume. We'll figure out other ways that we use the routes and the facilities that are on the coal route.
Mm-hmm. Crude oil.
Yes, sir.
Where do you see that going?
Crude oil grew to where it was a little less than 4 or 5% of our franchise. So that was significant because it's not very many things that go literally from nothing to 4 or 5% in 5 years. At the same time, I think it's important to remember it is 4 or 5% of our franchise. So it's one part of our balanced portfolio of business. That's one of the things that we think is a strength of BNSF, that we have a number of different kinds of businesses that all perform well in different economic conditions. But we continue to see a strong future for crude oil. We think over time commodity prices will change and do change, and it's an opportunity for North American energy independence. That's an exciting concept to think about. It solves problems of generations, and we're proud of our role in moving the oil from where it is to where it can be refined. And so we still see it as a strong opportunity.
One of the aspects of BNSF that really is truly impressive is the amount of capital investment. It's unprecedented. We've never seen anything like this past few years. This year is what, about $6 billion?
It's about $6 billion. That's right.
Last year was 5.5 or 5.6, around there.
Well, I mean, you got the numbers exactly right. 2015 is a $6 billion program. Mm-hmm. Last year was about 2014 was about 5.5. Which was last year actually bigger than our announced program, because we could see that 2016 would need to be another large year, and rather than wait for the date on the calendar to turn over, we started some projects early that we could, so that we'd get the benefits sooner. We won't continue at that level. We don't need to continue at that level. Growth of our customers is important to us. Our business model, safety is the most important thing we do. After safety, it's service, and our financials really are based on being productive, getting value for what we do, and growing. We need all three of those things. So as we plan our capital, we plan for how much work we'll have. We take our various lines of business, and the business units work with our operating teams to project what we believe our volume levels will be. And it's all of that then led us to make the $5.5 and $6 billion investments. Now, in fairness, I think to our customers, I have to say, we thought we were behind a building season, and so we worked hard to do a lot to help our customers handle their growth and to be committed to their growth. Once we've done that, then we don't need to do it. We don't need to make that level of investment going forward. So I would see us falling off at some of that in 2016. Mm-hmm. It'll still be a number that's historically a high number. So it'll still be a strong effort. Our railroad itself is in the best shape it's ever been in. I think we talk about capital and we talk about expansion, and we think of expansion as the way we have capacity, but it's vitally important that the railroad itself is in good shape and that we have good utility. You can never build enough new railroad to make up for not having the railroad you have be in the best condition it can be. Our maintenance teams do a great job working with our transportation teams to get windows to work on the railroad, and again, it's in the best shape it's ever been in. We can see that in our metrics. We can see that being out on the railroad. We go out every month and ride for at least a couple days somewhere around the railroad. We've been doing that for years and years, so we've been over the whole railroad multiple times. And so I believe when we talk about the condition of the railroad, we know we have credibility, and it is in the best shape it's ever been in, and we're proud of that. And that does mean we don't have to spend quite as much there either.
Yeah. So next, no, you've invested a lot, for example, in the northern corridor. Next year for the 2016 program, what are your targeted investments?
Well, we'll be finishing the projects that we started. So you would see they would seem similar to what you've seen the last couple of years. We will be doing completing some projects on the northern tier. We also did a tremendous amount of centralized traffic control to give ourselves an advanced signal system. As we work through steps of capacity, single tracks have shorter segments of sidings. Sidings become longer, then we double track, and then we enhance with the signal system. So we did a lot of that across the north. There will be some more of that again. We had 3 significant segments left on the Chicago-LA route. We completed one of those this year. We're working on a second one that will finish up next year. We do across Nebraska what would traditionally be thought of as our coal route. We had a couple single track segments where there's also a lot of maintenance. As you can imagine with coal tonnage, we finished one of those this year. We'll be completing the second one of those next year. So it's really around the railroad, and that's the great thing about a railroad and its network, that as we make an investment, it benefits the entire railroad. It benefits our whole customer base. So we don't usually talk about this piece of business justified an investment. They all did. The ones that were there, the growth that happens, and then again we plan our work and how much capacity we need, and then it benefits everybody. And then we have a railroad that's forever better, which is certainly what's happened with BNSF over the last couple of years.
Some of the technology that's out in the field is proven quite beneficial. Things like trending on hot bearings, machine vision technology. Things like that, and now this new initiative, which seems to be very promising, is the UAVs, the unmanned aerial vehicles, which you're using for looking past the line of sight, track inspections, bridge inspections, things like that. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure.
That's a brand new matter, you know.
Well, you described everything really well. I mean, we do put a tremendous effort around technology. We believe technology is something that you deploy for a specific reason, for an outcome. And you mentioned several that we've done, whether those are performance of our mechanical components and the way we use our detection system around the railroad. We've made great advances there.
Predictive maintenance is tied in with that.
Absolutely, right? Absolutely. And that relates to safety as well. The unmanned vehicles are an example of one of the ways that we can enhance our inspection of our track condition. And I think what we've worked on there covers the whole spectrum, whether that's training and ways we can enhance our training, all the way through things like ground penetrating radar and trending there as well, trending with the information we have to the drones, so to speak, the UAVs, with the idea being that we can gather more data. We can be there without track time. We can process that perhaps in a way that we enhance the processing with computer support. But if nothing else, to make sure that we present the data all in a more consistent and centralized sort of way that lets us then improve the quality of the evaluation of that data.
And also, I would think using a UAV for something like bridge inspection would increase the safety factor for the people that actually inspect the bridges. That's got to be a dangerous job.
Well, you're absolutely right. That is one of the things we do with UAVs, is to go under the bridge and be able to inspect it. That does mean we can see more things. It's incredible, the quality of the pictures that you get from the UAVs. But to your point, to get completely up under the bridge, it's hard to do that. And when you're doing it, you're often high in the air. We would use fall protection, but of course, but it's still hard to be able to get all the places you need. So it definitely enhances the safety of the bridge inspectors and presents some data they can handle in a more effective way.
Talk about BNSF specifically and what things that you've done to achieve your safety goals.
Well, it's something we've all done together to drive improvement in safety at BNSF, and we have made strong improvement in our safety. We're in our 6th consecutive year of a record, meaning the lowest frequency ratio for our employees. And it's important to look at those numbers, not for the sake of the numbers, but to be sure that the things we're doing are having a positive impact. We've long believed that safety is about behaviors, that it's about people. When we say that, we mean all of our people. We mean all of us for the environment we set up, the approach we have, the expectations we have, and certainly the frontline people doing the job. So we've talked about and put in place what we would say is a culture of compliance, meaning it's important to follow all of our rules all the time, but we have an emphasis on our rules that have the most significant consequences. But beyond that takes you a certain way, but to accomplish all your safety goals, our vision to realize a workplace free of accidents and injuries, then we need all of us pulling together with what we'd call a culture of commitment. And we often describe that as meaning we take safety for our responsibility for our own safety, but also for the responsibility for the safety of our coworkers. And I believe that's the shift in culture that we've had. We have a important initiative that we call Approaching Others About Safety, to set up the process or to set up the expectation in the environment of interacting with coworkers about how we have safe processes. That could be, that was really good, we did that right. That could be, hey, here's a safer way to do that. I think there's two really important things about that. So first, it's a very straightforward concept to say we want to interact with each other about safety before things have to happen. You have to recognize an interaction needs to happen. You have to be prepared to do that, which isn't always easy. You have to deliver the dialogue and the interaction in a way that's actionable, and the person hearing it has to take it, be prepared to hear it and take it and act on it. And so one of the things we did with Approaching Others was arm people with the tools they needed to help them do that. But I think even more importantly, but certainly as importantly, it began setting up an expectation that we expect that to happen. So the first time it might be hard, and somebody might say, why are you bringing that up to me? To where the second time's a little easier, and the third time's a little easier yet. And then eventually we get to the point where everybody's expecting that to happen. So it's not about why did someone say something, but whether about what did they say, what behavior we are addressing.
Right.
And I think that has shifted our safety culture, and I think that's why you're seeing the kind of environment that we have today. We've continued to enhance that every year. We'll be doing that again in 2016.
Can you describe some of the sustainability initiatives that BNSF has been involved in?
First, in terms of impact on the environment, the emissions from locomotives, and our locomotives are the most significant impact. And that's why I think that we've worked to make improvement there. So everything we do with fuel conservation helps with emissions because we're burning less fuel. So our fuel programs that range from simple things like turn the locomotive off if you're not using it, all the way to trying a hydrogen fuel cell locomotive, all fit with that. But it's really more than that because it is about sustainability and the impact on the environment. We know that's important. We know that's a responsibility we have. As we fulfill our value of being good corporate citizens, that's something we think is important to do. So we do have sustainability efforts that I think in many ways have three prongs. One is what we just talked about, the fuel efficiency. As we have better fuel efficiency, that helps the environment. It reduces our dependency on oil. Then there's the emissions from our locomotives. You mentioned Tier 4 locomotives. Decade or two ago, when we first started with the tiers of locomotives, we're well lower than what the emission from a locomotive would have. So with the age of our fleet, with our very modern and new fleet, and all the investment we made in locomotives, the amount that emits from our fleet is significant, and we're purchasing Tier 4 locomotives this year, which are now at about a 1.6 level in terms of NOx, which is the way that's measured, compared to something that was probably in the 12 to 15 range when the first sets of tiers came out. And then there's highway congestion and getting trucks off the highways. We talked about earlier around business. That's also helpful because it reduces the impact on our nation's infrastructure, reduces the congestions around that. But our employees, I think, involved in many ways. Additionally, we do have a sustainability report that we do each year. That we evaluate the impact on the environment and things ranging from recycling to our locomotives. All are all things that we focus on and do at BNSF.
What sort of initiatives is BNSF engaged in to bring in, number one, bring in new talent. Number two, keep talented people working for the railway? Well,
when we think about talent and the people that work on the railroad, you name the two things that you do. We have development, and that's for all of us. That's for people that have been here for over 35 years, like I have, to people who've started in the last year or so. Every one of us can do things every day to develop, and so we put a tremendous effort around that. We do leadership development training every year, where all of us go through the same elements of the program. So there's those formal aspects. It's as important that you do an annual feedback process, and so every one of our leadership employees then talks to the people they work with and gives them feedback on their performance for the year and the things they need to work on. So I think a lot of that's individual based, and a lot of that really is about having a value of continuous improvement. But more formal in the broader sense. So first, in terms of retaining talent, I think having a good place to work goes a long way towards that.
Yeah, it sure
People
does.
like coming to work every day. They're proud of their company. They're proud of what their company does. Then people want to be there. And so we do see people working longer and retiring at later points in their life, and that's great. And we'll keep doing that. There's nothing better than when you talk to somebody, hear them saying, "I love my job. I love coming to work every day."
Yeah.
And I think there's a psychology of success around that. And so I think as railroads have succeeded, that's helpful. And I think if we talked about something different about now versus when I started my career a long time ago, somebody might have said to me 35 years ago, "Why are you going to work for a railroad?" Now
Yes,
there's lots of people who talk about railroads are our preferred sort of employer. And so that helps with retention. That does help with attraction, and that helps us get people who come to the railroad with great talent and skills, with a diversity of all types. And so that's something we embrace. We create transitions and expect to have plans and development plans to know as people take on new roles how we can have a transition from knowledge. It remains an important thing to do, though, because we do have a tremendous number of railroaders who have acquired a lifetime of knowledge that we want to make sure we pass on as much as we can. So when we can, we do have some formal sorts of knowledge capture and so forth. And that goes part way, but the rest of it is the development for us all individually.
How about recruitment?
Well, we definitely have significant recruiting programs. It does range from college campuses. And again, as we think about the image that railroads have today, railroads are a preferred sort of employment now. I think it's always been true, but I think it's certainly true for people graduating from college today, is they want to do something they know is important. They want to do something that they know has an impact. And railroads have a tremendous positive impact on our country, on our commerce, and as well as the sustainability, some of the things we talked about before. And so I think that gives us a good chance. And lots of young people think railroads are cool. Who doesn't love a train, right?
Well, Carl, thank you very much, and again, congratulations, and we will see you in Chicago on March 15th at the Union League Club.
Wonderful.
Yes.
It's a great honor,
Great.
and I look forward to it.